Good evening and welcome, guys, to Around the Pit. It is our 21st episode. Man, we've been going for a bit here. And it's a very special episode. As you guys know, TI is just around the corner. Wildcards start in 2 days. Less than that if you live in a Euro region that's already clicked over to 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're excited about it. We're doing a lot of work. So what I've done today is I've gathered my team and people who are making content at Dota, at TI, and we're going to talk about that stuff today here on Around the Pit. So it's a non-traditional format, no points, no buzzers, just good old-fashioned Dota talk and TI hype. All right, guys. Big shout out to our sponsors. Before we start on anything, though, which is something that we need to make sure that we do, and that is, of course, the guys who make this possible are Pro-Built Systems, who created the computer that we're broadcasting from, and of course Asus Republic of Gamers for a lot of the parts that we use, and especially the computer that we're taking on the road to make TI today at Seattle. So we're going to be broadcasting live from Key Arena. We couldn't do that without Asus Republic of Gamers. And last but not least, GameLeap.com, which is the best place for you to go and learn how to play Dota like the pros. It's a website where 6.5 and above MMR players create guides and tutorials to teach you how to play. So that said, let's get into introducing everybody who's going to be on the show today and getting into this thing right away. So first up, hopefully we get Proud back at some point, but our first guest we'll introduce is right in the middle of your screen. It is Prove Dota. You may know her, you may not. You probably haven't seen her on screen very often. She works at a lot of the summits. She makes a very cool web series that compares Dota 1 to Dota 2 and is really doing a lot of things behind the scenes on a regular basis. So I'm excited to have her here working with the team. She's going to be helping with camera, overlays. A lot of the graphics you're going to see are coming out of Prove's brain. How are you doing tonight, Prove?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited to finally be on your show. I've known you forever, and you've never asked me to be on your show, so I'm very excited.
Now I feel terrible, but I also am excited to have you on the show. I feel like I asked you once, and you said you didn't think of yourself as an on-screen personality, so I feel like that's on you.
I don't know. I don't have that camera presence yet. It's just something you get to do that. I haven't gotten there yet.
I talked to my wife works like a normal 9 to 5, like the rest of the world does, and she was complaining because somebody at her job got a small promotion over her, and we were talking, and I was like, "Well, did you want the promotion?" She said, "Well, they asked me like 6 months ago if I want to be a people leader," and I said, "I'm not sure." And I said, well, there's your problem. Once you tell someone you don't want to be something, they just don't even think about following up on it. So sure enough, she went in the next day and was like, by the way, I think I want to be a people leader. And within 3 days, she was also getting a promotion. So, next time, get back to me and say, Toffees, why haven't I been on the show? And you'll be on it, I promise.
All right, I got it. Thank you.
our little inspirational moment. Our second guest is Reinessa. You've seen her before on the show. You've seen TLDR, I'm sure. She is the co-host for TI Today at Key Arena. Excited to have you here. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. We're so close to TI. I finished up my last thing on my checklist before I could pack and leave and everything, and I'm starting to feel the excitement now that I've crossed so many things off the list.
I'm very excited. I'm stressed out of my mind, but also very, very excited. Now, let's go to our third guest, the man who's been sitting silently because I've muted him until now. This is Proud. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background here. Okay. Originally, we had booked Eric Thiel to be on the show. He is the producer for TI Today. He had a blackout in his neighborhood 10 minutes ago. I'm not kidding. He called the electric company. They said he can't be back until after the show. So we got on the horn because I'm working with the .p guys out in Seattle, and I know that they're doing some really cool content out there as well. And I said, who do you have that can come on the show on a whim, talk out of his ass, and have a really good time? And they said,
okay.
They were like, our best host at making stuff up, I'm kidding, I'm adding this, is Proud. Let's get him on the show. So they sent him over.
That's accurate.
This is Greg. Sense. Greg, I don't know how to say your last name, so I won't.
Don't sweat it.
Fair enough. So Proud is the host of Try Hard Tuesdays over on .p. If you guys don't sub that
he doesn't even know
so.
anything about. Okay, so I'm the host of Theorycraft Thursday with.
They said Try Hard Tuesdays. That's what they told me.
They're just very not the best people. So just go through me. That's what everyone does. I'm just kind of the best at everything at .p. So you can just get your information from me. We'll be all set.
Fair. So from now on, I go directly to Proud because crowd comes before the .P's information. That said, though, he's going to be here to give us some fill-in, talk about what's going on at TI. We're going to open up with just a little bit of Dota talk. We're going to kind of go over what's been happening in the scene, what we're looking forward to. Then we're going to talk about TI today specifically. So if you guys have ideas for what you want to see out of the morning show, I 100% want you to be able to type that in chat. So once we get to that segment, think about some ideas and give it to us because we want to make this your show. We'll go more of that as we get closer to it. That said, let's talk Dota specific, TI around the corner. The thing on everybody's mind, it all popped up right after Immortals came out. The prize pool is now officially the highest, not just in Dota history, but in all esports. $8 million to the winners. The prize pool keeps getting bigger. Here's my question for you. Will the bubble bust? Every year, people say, well, this is it. This is the high water mark. And then it happens again the next year. And one of the complaints I've heard from companies, other groups like Blizzard and League don't do this crowdfunding thing because they say it creates too difficult of a watermark to hit over and over and over again. Because if the next one is only 15 million, will the fans abandon the game? What do you guys think about the prize pool? Do you think it hurts or helps the future of Dota?
I think that it helps a lot because that number alone gets us a lot of attention, sponsors, money, which is necessary. Unfortunately, every other year we said, oh, it'll never get this big again. And in your heart, you hope, okay, we really hope it's going to make it. But this year, we barely made it. So I have two opinions on this. One, okay, it may never get this big again. That's okay because we have the majors and we have these big tournaments all year now, so it's a more stable scene. But two, Valve has a lot of money. They could secretly prop up the prize pool if they want to use it as a hype factor. If they determine that an ever-increasing prize pool every year is necessary and it doesn't look like it's going to happen, they can insert their own money that they're making hand over fist anyway and add the hype if they think it's necessary.
Or they could just release a new product. What are you going to say, Prue?
People love their hats, you know? I mean, Reinessa makes a really good point, though. Only a certain amount of the prize money that the community puts in is going towards the prize pool. So even though we barely hit that mark this year, if Valve decides, hey, maybe we can put, 30% into that money into our prize pool, then they could do that. So it might bust in terms of Valve will have to put more into it, but I don't know. People are very, very supportive of Dota, and I don't see it busting anytime soon, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with Reinessa just about the fact that Valve doesn't do any marketing, right? So the whole marketing of Valve is just the hype that's behind it. So we have a huge prize pool that gets trending on, whatever social media, and then that's all we got to do. So just go with that. We definitely need the prize pool to keep going, but I don't think the prize pool is really dependent on how big or popular Dota is. It's really just more dependent on the actual tactics that Valve puts out. So Prue said, if they increase whatever contribution from 25% to 30, that would be insane. Or if they have some more tricks up their sleeve, they haven't actually done everything to make the compendium super hype inducing. So if they have tactics or they just increase the percentage, we're all set.
But there's still the question of, I think that the majors themselves are what caused the prize pool to not be as explosive this year because normally our hype has to wait. So we're super hyped for TI for 3 months, and then we have 9 months of, great Dota, cool things going on, but it's not TI. When you add in these major systems, especially with how packed they were, we always have this insanely high level Dota being played, and if we forget about Shanghai, high level production and all that happening, and it's a lot of money. $3 million is still a huge amount of money. And I think that diminishes TI hype a little bit, which was the actual intention, was to not make things so TI centered. Yeah. So I do think that will also impact the prize pool because the Immortals, they're not as exciting. We got them with every major. Yeah. The compendiums, that's all not as cool as it used to be.
Right. Well, and they also have the ability to cheat, right? I mean, we saw them release, the Weekend Battle Pass deal everybody could buy one for half off or something like that. But the prize pool bumped up an
brilliant.
insane amount. So, and somebody mentioned that on Reddit. I thought that was interesting that they said, well, if the prize pool doesn't get close, they can just do that again on the last week and get the $500,000 bump. So they do have their ways. The question, and let me ask you this, and this could be either yes or no, or however you want to answer this. If the prize pool doesn't surpass in the future, if we have let's just hypothetically say next year's prize pool doesn't break 14 million, which is a long shot, but let's just say that. Do you see viewership? Do you see buy-in? Do you see any of that stuff decrease for Dota? Or does it just stay the same because the fans don't really care?
I don't think you see it decrease. So we've talked about how Dota players like to be elitist, much more so than the other communities. And so I think we take a lot of pride in how large the prize pool is. Mm-hmm. However, if the prize pool does not hit 25 million next year to surpass this one, and say it goes to 18, which seems like a pretty reasonable, it kind of seems like we've hit that point, and that's around where we're going to stay, 18 to 20. I think that all of us elitists are going to have great ways to explain that off, and all the casual people, the new people, are still going to go, oh my God, 18 million, why don't I become a professional gamer? Which is what every single cab driver ever has said to me.
That's true. Every Uber driver in the world. Do you guys have any thoughts on that, Proud or Prove?
If it shrinks, we're all gonna quit and move to competitive Mount Your Friends.
It's funny you say like the elitist thing, because the first thing I thought of when you mentioned the prize pool surpassing like all the other esports, the first thing I wanted to say was "suck it, League of Legends." So it's definitely an ego thing, unfortunately.
I think that motivates a lot of us to keep pushing the prize pool more. I hate buying fake clothes for my in-game characters. I don't like hats. I think they're stupid. But I look at that prize pool grow, and I think about supporting the community, and I think about being better than League of Legends, and I'm like, okay, I guess I could buy this Battle Pass weekend sale.
Fair. I love hats. They're my weakness. They are my kryptonite, these stupid hats. God, they're killing me. All right, next question. Let's keep running down the docket. This one is the teleport effect. It was showcased by Moo. We've now seen all the animations. Every team at TI apparently is going to have a really cool customized TP effect. Should that be released to the public in the lead up to TI? Should we be able to declare who we support and bring that to our pubs? Or do you think this is a really cool that should stay for the pros?
Hell no. No. Like, there's so much random effects that I see. Like, I get X'd by Kunkka and it's blue and I'm in the river and I don't notice. Like, that's not okay. So we're okay. We already have a teleport effect for everyone, right? I don't think we need. I like pros having that. We'll leave it there.
The only cool thing about it though is that they should do it so where if they did release it so the community could pick, what team they wanted to support to have that effect, that money could go to the teams, and that just increases, sustainability in teams, especially, teams that maybe aren't winning the big tournaments, like, e.g. teams that aren't really, really funded by a big corporation behind them. It would help to keep them going as well, and, get them kind of the things that they need to keep going in the scene if they're not being supported otherwise. So that's the only reason I would like it to be implemented for the
I'm going to jump in on Prue's idea, because I have heard allegations and suggestions and messages from people at Valve who say that they watch the show. So if you guys are watching right now, maybe 25% to the prize pool, 75% to the teams. Let us buy a teleport to support our crew. I don't know.
Hi, Valve. You can keep 50% because that will incentivize you to do it. And 25 to the teams and 25 to the prize pool.
But you're right, Prue. That would be neat. Can you have
5% for me?
And 5 to Proud just by himself for sitting here. I like that. All right.
Snowballing it. I don't know.
Na'Vi 1-star ladder. They beat a lot of big teams to do that. The heavy hitters were there. The real question is, does that mean that they're going to do really well at TI? What do you guys think?
I'm ready for another Na'Vi Alliance showdown, even though it's not the same players on Na'Vi. I think that would just be like really fun for the fans to see, like, at the international. But whether that will happen or not, I don't know. It's a really tough crowd to go into. Like, there's a lot of competition this year.
There's a very big difference as well between StarLadder and TI. So at StarLadder, there was some great Dota being played, but the mentality, the endurance, and the pressure are very different. So I think for Na'Vi, they're playing very well, but they do have the potential to not be able to maintain that. They're an emotional team. We've seen it before. They've always been emotional. And Star Ladder, even though it was in America, is still something that I think Na'Vi is very tied to, and it gives them a lot of a boost. And it's a short tournament, and the stakes are so much lower. It was a $300,000 prize pool. I'm not saying that people weren't taking it seriously, as we discussed on the last Around the Pit, but I think that the pressure of TI changes so much, no matter how teams are performing. The endurance that they have to have through all of these group stages, through thousands of fans, through all of these expectations, can really weigh on them. And for an emotional team, I think that that will be more challenging for them. Top 8 is reasonable. I think beyond that would be exceptional from what Na'Vi has shown us.
Okay.
All right. I wanna throw this out. So if you look at like winning tournaments, as was proved by Secret, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened with them last year, but winning tournaments before TI just puts a big target on your head. And if you look at the tournament before that, the Summit 5, you have Wings Gaming wins, then OG, then Liquid, and then Na'Vi gets 4th. And they did fine, but they got 4th. And then you look at the other tournament, much weaker teams for the most part, like Secret and EG, they're fine. DC is strong, but they didn't win majors, or at least the current Secret didn't. But you look at that time, like Na'Vi gets first. So you have the most recent result we're looking at, Na'Vi beating Secret. Ooh, crazy. Everyone's, flipping things. But then the last tournament before that, they only got 4th. So like now they're the most recent tournament winner. But if you look at the last month, like they're probably not the best team by far. So I think that's actually the worst thing that could have happened for them. It's good at the potential, but.
And I also question what happens to confidence and ego. So I sort of had this argument. So clearly I would like Secret to win, but I had this argument with myself that thought, well, maybe if they don't win, that's even more drive and motivation, and they won't get too comfortable. And so maybe, and I had this whole, before the finals even happened, I had this entire discussion with myself of what would be the best mentality for the team. Is having all-star players and succeeding and having confidence going to push you forward, or is having a little bit of adversity and challenges going to be more motivating for you? And excuse me, in the case of Na'Vi, because they're emotional, I think winning is better for them than getting second, because they have had a hard time getting the top spot. And so I don't know if it put a target on their back too much, because every single analyst kept saying, I don't know if they can take on OG, Liquid, Wings, or Newbie. Yeah. Every single one, no matter how a team performed, every single time they just said, meh, I don't know if they could crack those top 4.
I dig that. I will say this. It occurs to me from my history watching Na'Vi, because they've been one of my favorites to just sort of love on as everybody else does, is that they do well when the crowd supports them. They do well when they feel like the fans have their back. That's why they seem to do well at Star Ladder Lands, I think. And I do think that the win at Star Ladder will give them momentum, like you brought up, and sort of bring them onto stage with confidence. And when Dendi plays with confidence, Na'Vi plays 100 times better. And that's 100%, I stand by that statement. If Dendi comes out and he's excited to play and he believes in himself, the rest of the team seems to do really well too. So maybe that'll give them a push. Like you said, I think top 8's possible. I don't know that I would put them at my number 1, win the whole thing vote. But it'll be fun to see a good Na'Vi versus Alliance game, hopefully, because we haven't seen one of those in a long time, in my opinion, and it'll be fun to see. Any other thoughts that you guys have about the teams going? What do you think? Who's your favorite? Anything to lay on us before we transition into talking about sort of the hub talent outside of just the teams?
I'm very interested to see China. They have been so underwhelming for the entire year. They make more money streaming. They clearly got a little bit lazy. They had their great shuffle and have been improving and haven't really had the time yet to show their improvements. A little bit like EG and Secret. We haven't really seen what they're capable of yet. We just know that they're strong. And I think that the Chinese mentality and discipline and style of how they train is much more beneficial in this patch. This patch is not forgiving of mistakes. it's not death ball, but it certainly is take control of the game. And I think that the Chinese play style and what we associate with them, not wings, I'm not including wings in this discussion, they're different. I think that that is terrifying. And I think because China has been underwhelming for so long, that they could really come out of nowhere and be terrifying from the China that we remember from previous years.
Okay. You proud? You guys have any thoughts on what you want to see or what you expect?
I'm like such a USA fangirl. Like, honestly, I'm rooting for Complexity, EG, DC. I don't know. It's just when you're on home turf like that, one of the coolest things last year about TI5 was just being at the arena for the grand finals when EG was there. Like, everybody was sporting their American flags, and it was very cool because I'm not into like traditional sports. So it was very cool to like being in a huge crowd of people who are all like rooting for like the same country. So it was very cool for me. So I'm kind of hoping for that again, USA to kind of bring home some really good victories.
And what about you, Proud? What are you looking forward to? What are you hoping for?
LGD is going to knock it out of the park if they get everyone there playing at their full potential, for sure. They're going to do super well. Wings, normally you look at a team like Wings is doing well, people are going to figure them out, but like, how do you figure out Wings? Right. That's not a thing. Like, you don't figure out Wings, so they're going to do well regardless of how you prepare. And Jackie Mao.
You think Jackie Mao's ready? Like, this is going to be his TI?
My favorite NA team secret. We're going to do it. All three of us NA people and Jackie Mao.
And 2 NA coaches.
Right? It's the most NA team. Like, they have one less NA player than EG. So EG isn't going to actually do that well, I don't think. Like, I'm sorry. Jackie Mao.
EG without a coach and an injection of ideas and drafts will struggle quite heavily. And I think EG has had problems accepting help for this past year. They have been turning down people because Bulba coached Liquid. Even was a secret. EG did not bring a coach, and they clearly suffered. And I think that there's something wrong mentality-wise with that team that even roster shuffles back and forth, whatever, are not fixing. And I think without a 6th perspective, they are going to struggle to fight up against all of these other teams that are bringing in all these peripheral people to really help them understand the teams that they're going up against. I just don't think they can prepare adequately.
It does seem like the scene's changed rapidly in the last 2 years, and EG has sort of been caught on their heels a little bit. But again, we've seen from past TIs that EG are the king of the lower bracket. They tend to love getting punched. They're like those old school boxers that like to take a couple of good shots to the face to get themselves amped up to fight back. So hopefully we see that. This is a format that benefits their style of comeback. So it should be a good tournament no matter how you slice it. That's what I'm excited about, to see if EG shows they're the comeback kids and fight their way out of the lower bracket, which I think that they will spend some time in. Sorry, guys. No matter what. All right. Last thing to talk about before we transition over to talking about TI today is the Hub talent. It was a very interesting list that came out recently for the people who are going to be running the show out there. They left out some people that I expected to see on the list, like Nahaz, Fogged, AC, and Pimpmuckle, in favor of a lot are saying making way for new talent. So we are seeing Mott, Annie, Droid, Charlie, and Knoxville all joining the team officially as analysts and panelists. But they also brought back some folks that we see maybe once a year or so in the form of Draskell, Shane, and Casey. So what did you make of this sort of invite group? Do you think it really matters at the end of the day? Do fans give a shit who's actually on these panels? Talk to me about it. What do you think?
If you guys in chat haven't read the post by Capitalist and Red Eye about invites for tournaments, I highly suggest you go do that immediately after this is over, because it gives you really good insight into how the picking for these things go. It's much less personal than you would think, and more about the feel of the show that they're trying to get. So it's honestly really depressing to see people who have worked very, very hard all throughout the year and even previous years as well, and not get invited. Pimpmuckle, obviously, Fogged, all those people have been putting in so much work and they don't get invited. So obviously the community is in uproar, but unfortunately it's just a feel of the show that Valve is trying to build and go with, and that's what they have to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, I believe it was Capitalist's post that said that TI last year had a very boring panel. And I think that that's true. It's not a bad thing It was so much money. I think Valve went a little too far in a direction of let's be careful, let's be professional, let's be calm, let's not take any wild cards. And I think that the panel did lack just a little bit of flair. And that's what bringing Shane and Pyrion is really going to alleviate.
Sure.
As far as Pimp Muckle goes, he is a different instance in this case. Now, for some people, it was because the style of the show, Fogged is a different style of analyst than Black is, and so that's how you make the decision between the two. Pimp Muckle, he's great at what he does, but when he posted about the Manila Major, insider, behind-the-scenes information, things he should not be sharing, that is not looked kindly upon. There's no way. Valve does not release a lot of information. They don't share. They do things their way. That's how they've always functioned. There is no way they look at the storm he tries to throw up everywhere and think, we want him at our top secret behind-the-scenes event where we do all these different things.
No, he didn't actually post anything. Somebody else leaked
No,
this
he posted an entire whole, I read a lot. He showed Skype logs. He showed everything, all about that. Yeah, he got screwed with Manila. I totally believe that. I understand he did amazing work. You could clearly see all the production that he had a hand in because we had seen it on Moonduck Stream beforehand. However, unfortunately, I think that removes him as a possibility to ever be hired by Valve.
So, to clarify, and I will say this, I saw the logs, I talked to Pimp, it was posted by somebody else who I think he had spoken with and was outraged, and he asked them to take it down as soon as it went up. But, once something goes viral, it goes viral.
Yeah.
And that's a bummer. So Reinessa thinks that played into it. Do you guys think that that's something that maybe came into play, or is it just that Scriff and Weppus have been in that position forever, and Scriff and Weppus is just who you go with?
I agree with that, honestly. I think that there's not that much of an area for more observers to come in, and that's why Pimp they don't need them, I think. People say, like, the group stages and stuff, like, there's a lot of games going on at once, so they could possibly use them, and I don't know what the case is going to be for that, if casters are going to be controlling their own cameras or what.
Mott will also be observing.
That's a good point as well. And Mott's done a lot of observing as well this year, so I don't know. So that might literally be a case of, like, not having a spot for him, since he's not someone that's going to be on camera and feeling a certain, like, kind of feel that they need for the tournament.
So it should be interesting. Do you have any thoughts on it, Proud, before we move forward?
Yeah, I didn't really think before about the kind of the drama with PGL, and I know that he did everything in his power to, like, diffuse that, which is, like, totally to his credit. I don't fault him for anything that happened there. It's just, like, unfortunate that he was in that position for sure. I also say 5% slant that he has Pimp in his name.
Possible.
That's my thought. Anyway, go on.
I think he would willingly change his handle. He is great at what he does.
Oh, no, he's awesome.
I think he would change his handle in a second.
He's very innovative. Like, Pimp is the guy, if you're going to create a tournament that you want to be unique and innovative, Pimp is the guy that you would bring into that tournament to do that.
Mm-hmm. So he's somebody that I think we'll see continue to get work in the future. Hopefully other tournaments don't not get along with him. And for those of you who are watching, something that you guys might not know, if you're sort of into the scene casually, if you don't really get into the meat and potatoes of this thing, is the reason there's so much discussion over who gets invited to this event is this is really one of the biggest events of the year, not just to viewers, but also in terms of capital. This makes a lot of, especially young aspiring casters and panelists, makes them funded to the point where they can do this for another year. So a lot of these guys work their butts off. Valve is sort of the big payoff event, if that makes sense, that lets somebody like Annie Droid say, I can go full-time now. So that is where it's nice to see new talent, right? Because the guys who work for BTS, they're getting their salary, they're getting whatever their contract fee is. It's great to go, but they would work if they're not invited. Somebody like Annie Droid, maybe if she's not invited to this, she's got to go out and get a job scanning beeping with, Grand Grant at Walmart to pay her bills. So that is sort of where this becomes a hotly contested discussion of, if there's someone in the scene you want to see make more content and be readily available, get them to TI so that they can sort of get the ability to do that for the entire year. So just so that you guys know why this comes up a lot, That's all we'll say about it. Now, when we come back from a short break, guys, we're going to talk about what's going on at TI, the morning show. We're going to talk to Proud a little bit about what .p's got in the works going on over there. If he doesn't know, then he can make it up or just not say anything. And we're going to talk about what we'd like to see. So if you have segment ideas, things like that, that is the place to let us know. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. But first, here is a word from the guys over at Game Leap.
Game Leap wants to know, do you want to improve and win? With over 400 professional guides by 6.5k plus players updated daily, unleash your potential. Master the most up-to-date strategies and secrets of professional players. We guarantee that you will gain MMR and dominate. Visit us at www.game-leap.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. You are watching Around the Pit, the TI Today edition, and this is what we're going to do. Is I really wanted to bring the production team for TI Today on. We had an issue with our producer, so Proud stepped in at the last second, so a big kudos to him for jumping in. If you guys are just joining us, top to top across is Proud Dota. He is the host of Try Hard. No, it's Theory Crafting Thursdays.
God,
I got it. Theory Crafting
Thursdays
Thursdays on .p. Are you working with Flub now? Is he on that show or is he on Try
No,
Hard?
Flub's on Tuesdays now. I know you and Flub go way back to when you were young boys. But yeah, I'm with Ursinity.
Okay, cool. So he's with Ursinity on Thursdays. Now, if you guys like my podcast, I like that you download it and you should continue to do so. But .p is also putting out like 4 episodes a week or something ridiculous. Is it 3 right now? 4 to 5.
4 and 5 whenever we want to do a Friday show, which has been pretty often.
So I think that you should go subscribe to those shows and just don't listen to one of them so you can listen to mine instead. I'm kidding. But get this stuff downloaded because I got some really good content. And we work together really, really well. In fact, I'm going to be crashing at the .p house with Proud and the rest of the guys in Seattle so we can really build a relationship and sort of focus on the future of podcasts and Dota, because I think it's a really underserved market. In the middle is Prove. She makes a YouTube series about Dota 1 versus Dota 2, does a lot of background editing, works on the show here, is helping us with all the overlays and camera work for TI Today, and goes constantly to things like the Summit to do behind-the-scenes work there as well. So a big shout-out to Prove for joining us. And finally, Reinessa Gaming on the far. She is my co-host for TI Today, and very well-versed in the scene, as well as the host of TLDR and a consummate cosplayer, if you haven't seen the shirt that she's wearing. So, that said, let's get back into this, guys. We're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing as the morning show. So, if you guys just are here for the traditional ATP, this is where things change a little bit. So, bear with us because, I'll be honest with you, I have had a crazy week. I've got a crazy week next week getting ready for this thing. And we just want to sort of let you guys know what's going on. So, long story short, about 2 years ago, I started a morning show, and I thought it'd be really cool to have it at TI, and I have been pushing and promoting and working with studios and talking to Valve and trying to get some way to do this, and it just hasn't worked out. A couple of months ago, I decided that I wanted to go to TI and open a GoFundMe with the intent of raising just enough money to have a microphone, a camera, and myself talk about Dota. And the GoFundMe went pretty well, enough that we could have 2 people. So I asked Reinessa if she would join me, sort of just talking about Dota every morning and do sort of this guerrilla, grassroots, single camera morning show for TI. And really was just for the people supporting the GoFundMe and the fans of Dota, like the hardcore people. Well, things got bigger. You guys have resoundingly supported the GoFundMe, which, by the way, we're $400 from being fully funded. So go to fundme.com/toffees and finish that out so we can make an even better show. And as the funding has increased, we've been able to make the show even bigger. We added Prove Attitude to the team to help with the camera work and the overlays and the behind-the-scenes stuff, because that's what she does so incredibly well. We added Eric Thiel. He is a producer for MajorLeagueBaseball.com and does a lot of their live streaming events over there, and he joined up to help produce the show. We added a gentleman named Jamie who also works for the .p organization to help with some overlays and some animated sequences, and he has been absolutely killing it. And finally, Tom Wade, who I heard is going to start working with the Seattle Seahawks in a week or two, as their sound man, is going to be joining us to do sound design, microphones, and some of the mixing on the morning show as well. So as you can see, the show has gone from literally me mixing this by myself on a crappy camera to significantly larger. We called Valve, and Prove and Reinessa can vouch for this. I said I'm going to email Valve and ask if they'll give us internet access so we can do this live. And everyone in the chat was like, yeah, we'll see if that happens. And we planned workarounds. Valve got back to us within like 4 days and said, we think it's a great idea. Here's your internet access point. And on top of that, we're going to give you a location on top of the secret shop. You'll have your backs to the Megatron, sort of that big yard where everybody watches Dota, and we support the broadcast. So Valve gave us their blessing, which is amazing. And right now, Game Leap, actually, one of the sponsors for the show, has come on and said, we're going to give you a $500 emergency fund. So basically, if something breaks or goes terribly wrong, if it's raining and I have to run to the store and buy a tent for us to use, they're the ones who are going to make sure that we keep the show going. So a big shout out to them for coming on board to help make sure that that happens. But the roots are the same. You guys made it happen. This is your show 100%. Reinessa and I talked about this from day one. We want to do a show for you guys. So if there's stuff you want to see, if there's ways you want to be involved, tweet us, email me, let me know, because we're super hyped about making you guys part of it. So that's sort of the background of this thing. I will say that it's gotten really a lot bigger than I expected. We're going to be streaming live to Join Dota Red on Twitch TV. So that's going to be a really big opportunity for everybody to sort of find the show and watch it. And I'm a little nervous, so make sure you guys support the show and let us know that you're excited about it, because it drives us every single day. Let's go this real quick. I want to kind of run through Reinessa and Prove, and then I want you guys to tell me a little about what you're working on for the show, what you're most excited about, and what you kind of want to see out of this thing. And then I got another special question for Proud, and then we'll keep rolling forward. So we'll start with Prove, and then move over to Reinessa. Prove, what are you doing?
Well, mostly, like you said, just behind the scenes work. I'm proficient enough, I guess, in After Effects, but I do not have a design eye whatsoever. So we've had Jamie kind of helping me out, kind of designing the show, and then brainstorming ideas of how we want to actually do the animations and transitions and stuff like that. So we've got a pretty good design so far for everything that we're going to be doing. Now it's just a matter of putting it together and figuring out how long transitions should be and everything like that. But other than that, anything that I can get done beforehand, before I get to Seattle, is going to help out a ton to make the show run smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we get there, we're just going to film a ton of B-roll to roll throughout the event of TI6. And hopefully it all goes swimmingly. It shouldn't be too much work editing, so hopefully I'll still get to watch the Dotas and enjoy it. So we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely.
But that's pretty much going to be my job.
My goal is that you and I work our butts off like Monday, Tuesday, and then just have the ability to sort of put you on relaxed status for the rest of the experience, maybe.
That'd be nice. You worked my ass off last year. Oh my God. I was running around everywhere. I lost 7 pounds after the international just because I was running up and down stairs and running to the hotel and running back, because the media Wi-Fi at the international is it's as poor as you can get for internet. So it's probably going to be the same this year, unfortunately, but if we can get the hardwire, maybe I can, get some stuff done with that as well. But
absolutely. So the moral of that story is, if you guys are into editing and you want to help put segments together, potentially, maybe get a hold of us, and I'm sure Prove could totally use your help getting some things put together. We'd love to have your touch on it, and then obviously making you part of the team would be super cool. Reinessa, what are you working on? What are you doing there? Let's talk a little about what you're up for.
So co-hosting, and a fun little facet of the co-host is, most people know, I cosplay quite a bit, and this is a very, very early morning show, which means that I will be dressed and ready in my cosplay for the day, and then co-hosting that way, as well as any segments and things we shoot during the day will be that way. So when we go out and shoot at local bars and restaurants, that will be remarkably amusing. I really, when you guys are watching the B-roll and the segments in between us live talking, I really encourage you to look at people's faces as they walk by us, because it'll be very entertaining.
I feel like we should just do a segment where we're literally not watching you at all. We're just filming everything around you, so we see everybody's faces that are going on.
Yeah, and that's the part of the show that's what made me very excited to do this. Is you can watch the Dota from home, you can watch the analyst panel, it's exciting, but it doesn't give you the experience of TI, so you don't know what it's like to see a cosplayer walk through the streets of Seattle and have everybody turn and look at them. You don't know what it's like. Yeah, you don't know what it's like to go to. It's Dick's, right? I've never gone, but everybody talks about it. To a bar afterwards that's filled. Yes, exactly. That's filled with Dota fans. You don't know what it's like to get off the plane and see everybody around you with buttons and Dota hoodies. And there's something really, really exciting to hopefully interviewing normal people walking around, getting their experiences of their first TI, their favorite teams, what levels their compendium, and then accompanying that with people, personalities at the event, analysts who maybe have time to come on the show, cosplayers who have time to come on the show, people who are at the event in more of a working capacity and are a little more into the scene, and sort of compare the two. So what does the average viewer think and say and experience, and what does someone on the production side and sort of more our side of things experience and go through, and what is TI like for everyone? And I think that's what's really great about this show, is that we're really going to give people access to a lot more than what they see just through the Valve stream. And that Dota is so big on community, and that's such a huge thing. You talked about how the show went from you to this huge group of people that we have now, and that's because of what the Dota community is like. And so this show is just another chance to kind of share that with people that can't make it to TI and help them understand how incredible it is and inclusive and amazing, and let them see that and feel like they're a part of it.
So, and you brought up the idea of the community being really great, and I want to use that to transition to Proud for just a minute here. He runs a show and works with an organization that has been really well supported by the community, that's very committed to it. You guys run in-houses on a weekly basis. They're going to actually rent it out a LAN center, or actually we're given access. I don't even know if they paid for it, but they have a LAN center every single night where they're inviting fans and people who watch the show, and just anybody from Dota in general, to come out and play Dota, watch the wrap-up show live, and sort of create this really cool ambiance. Because we talked about it, and they set out to do the same thing we did. I talked to Reinessa, and I said, I want to create an environment that is just for Dota fans, right? Something to get them more than just TI coverage. And the .p guys were like, hey, we're doing the same thing. We're just doing it at night. So what are you thinking about doing at TI Proud? Do you know any of the details yet? Or just talk about the community support for what you guys do.
So I'll say first on the topic of like getting to the community, probably my favorite memory of, I've been to TI4 and TI5, and last year I met this guy who like grew up with Sumail, and he was just telling me about like when he was like younger. He's like, kid's just a jerk. Honestly, I hope they lose at like Team Secret, and that was great. I love that. Yeah, just like meeting people. Yeah, it's great. Anyway, .p stands for Defense of the Patients, which is like super clever. I didn't come up with it for obvious reasons. So we're all getting there. We have a house on Lake Washington. Don't try to find it because that would be creepy. And we have a floor at a gaming center rented out. It's I don't know if I should say it or not. Anyway, keep following this show or .p and you'll know what it is. Or follow me on Twitter at ProudDota. So we have a floor for gaming place rented out, and like Nahaz and LD are coming, which are our friends apparently. We got press passes, all that stuff. We're recording our shows. We do podcasts every day. Every weekday or whatever, so we do it Monday through Wednesday. We're recording. We got computers. We got internet access. Everyone's gonna be playing Dota. It's like the public after party every day until the actual after party. So come on down. It's gonna be great. Gonna be playing lots of Dota, and you can like beat Roland, who's the guy who runs most of the stuff, and like it's really fun to see him upset. So come for that.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk about it on the morning show too, like as the wrap up. I think that I'm going to do a couple of episodes with them in the evenings to sort of wrap up what happened for TI at the day. So it should be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of synergy between the two teams. I'm excited to have a .p rep obviously here for that reason. Let's talk about the goals of our show specifically. And this has sort of come up, Reinessa, because we made the front page of Reddit. People were talking about what they want to see out of this. And there's sort of a mix, right? In the sense of a lot of folks were saying, well, we want to see highlight reels. We want to see recaps of what happened yesterday. And my position when I created the show and I sort of pitched everybody on the team was that we have three kinds of popular content in Dota right now on the main studios. We have a bunch of guys arguing, or we have a bunch of really smart dudes talking, or we have something that is incredibly memey and I don't want to say silly, but scene-centric, if that makes sense. There's nothing that is just fun about the scene. That's why I love the morning show format, right? If you watch Kelly and Michael in the morning, it's just sort of a fun way to start your day, and that's what we wanted to bring to it. So Discussion about recaps. Do you think that we have to get down and dirty with what happened the day before on this show, or do you think we should be leaving that to the panel? And you guys feel free to chime in on chat. Feel free to tweet at us. You can tweet at Toffees TV if you want. Now into posterity, I'll be reading all the tweets that you send about the show. And just make sure you use, what's our hashtag, Reinessa?
TI6 today.
TI6 today. We had to change it because apparently we had some hashtag that involves some sort of weird porn thing, I guess. I don't understand.
How can you avoid that, though, honestly, at this point?
Right? Everything's weird. TI6 today is probably some sort of creepy porn thing, too. Hashtag TI6 today.
Topic.
Tag it, tweet it, let us know what you think. But what do you guys think? Do you think we have to focus on that stuff, or what do you think we should do?
I think we're a short show that does not have any analysts on it. And if people want to know what the Dota is, what happened the day before, and what's coming today, that's what the analyst panel is for. That's what they're making a lot of money to talk to you about. And I feel like it'd be redundant. Now, I do think that some recap is necessary for context if we're going to be talking about huge expectations on OG, all of these amazing things they've done, and suddenly they're in the lower bracket. We can't just start out being like, wow, OG sucked. We have to.
We can't? That sounds fun. Like, be like, yo, Navi got wrecked, and then go into the next topic. Like, I'd watch that show.
That's why you're not the host of the morning.
That's fair.
So, and I think that, and Reinessa's right. We are talking, we're chatting with the Score Esports, and they do a recap every day. It's like 3 minutes of like what happened, plays of the day. I'd love to feature that on the show as just sort of a wake up, here's some action. But we're not going to get deep on the analytics, I think, because the panel's going to do that. But we will talk about schedule, games to watch for the day. Butlet brought this up. I think it's a great idea. Let's remember to do this. Maybe mention when the signings are for the day, because nobody knows when the autograph signings are. And help just deliver information that'll make your day at TI a little bit better going forward. So we're going to talk about schedules. We'll talk a little bit about what happened the day before. But I don't think theory crafting is going to be our big focus. I want to do segments. Like I have an email out to Dick's. You guys brought Dick's up earlier. Not to harp on the porn hashtag, this is a burger place, just so you guys know. And we're probably gonna do a segment there where we just talk about like cheap food that you can get outside of the stuff they serve in the stadium, because that shit is way overpriced.
Food.
Right,
The cool thing about Dick's
food.
too is that like it's all Dota fans. Like no matter when you go there, it's always going to be Dota fans there. So you're all eating Dick's and you're all hanging out with Dota people. So it's kind of cool.
So I think that it is, and I think those segments will be great. We're going to try to bring that stuff to you. So those kind of segments, a little slice of TI is definitely something coming your way. What other segment ideas have you guys had, whether you're viewers or on the show? What would you want to see when you think about a morning show?
Well, I'm very excited for what Prove and I are working on. I think that it has the right amount of humor, public service announcement to sort of tie in. So I cosplayed at TI 4 and 5 and have had a lot of interesting incidents, and nothing bad has happened. People are very nice, but it does get to the point where people's niceness becomes awkward, where they stare at you from behind a pillar from 40 feet away for 45 minutes because they're too scared to talk to you. So things like that are funny and silly and kind of put people at ease, I think are really, those are going to be great segments. To sort of gives people the experience, gives us a little bit of the memes without going a little too overboard, because we are obviously focusing on a more professional show.
Well, and I think you guys are also, the stuff that you're going to cover, we may even can add this, is like how to also approach not just cosplayers, but
anybody.
your heroes at TI, right? You don't want to, like, and Zyri was on a Coffee with Toffees 2 weeks ago, and I said, if somebody walks by you in the arena and sniffs, does that bother you? And he said, well, it's not the best way to greet me, but it's sort of something to consider. Is like, and here's something to think about. And this is just for you guys. You're going to TI, and there are people, because I felt the same way in my first TI, that like they're personality gods, right? Like you see Sir Action Slash, you're like, I fucking love this dude. Like everything he does is hilarious. I love watching his videos. I love watching his stream. I can guarantee you this. Jake Canner does not get people stopping him on the street when he walks around downtown, his hometown in Colorado, okay? That's not something that happens. Well, even when you talk to Toby and Cap, they say it's pretty rare that we're recognized outside of major events. They actually really enjoy when you sort of approach them the right way and say, hey, I love your stuff. Can I get a high five? Can I shake your hand? Can I have you sign this? It really means a lot to them. So we want you to do it. We just don't want it to be super uncomfortable.
AC gave me a bear hug. Like this was TI4. He was one of my favorite casters. I asked if I could take a picture with him, and he was so excited. He just gave me this huge hug. I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess you will take a picture. Thank you."
Other segments that we're working on. I've been chatting. I've been trying to get Fog to agree to do a short segment on the show. Since I think he's still going to be there. Obviously, he got panel cut, which is unfortunate. I really like his stuff. Nahaz and some other analysts have said that they are willing to help us cut sort of a meta catch-up, so sort of a short, analytical, here's how the game's shaping up over the week, because as we all know, TI meta is always new. It's a reinvented meta every single year, so we will have some analysts to talk about that stuff. I messaged AC and asked if he wanted to stop by and say hello, because he's going to sort of hopefully be there with EG. So we're trying to get some folks. We got guests coming on. We're going to do interviews with folks from the scene, whether it's live or pre-taped. We're going to do what we have to get you those people. And a segment I was working on today, guys, was I wanted to do a giveaway on the street. Like, I'm trying to get Jinx or somebody to donate t-shirts for us to give away. And I was like, I want to do a Dota quiz where I ask questions, give away shirts. And my wife goes, what if instead you did a Dota dating game? And I said, well, that's weird. I don't want to put Dota people together.
Oh, God.
And she said this, and I thought it was awesome. She goes, no. What if you write dating profiles for like a Match.com or a Tinder or whatever based on Dota heroes, and you read the profile to somebody and they have to guess who the hero is based on their dating profile. And if they get it, they win a t-shirt. And I was like, that's kind of a fun way to do the quiz show. So if you guys want to write Dota dating profiles and send them to me to make my life easier, you're more than welcome to do so. But I think that's a segment I'm going to work on a little bit here. Do you guys have anything else you really want to see come out of this thing?
I would really love to do a segment to talk about how the team is expanding. So there is, as I've said before, Nahaz is coaching and analysis, et cetera, for complexity, and they've been using Statsman in the past. Teams have coaches that aren't just for events. They are full-time, live with the team coaches. Fnatic has hired Kips to work with them all the time, and she's awesome. And I talk with her occasionally, and it would be really interesting to see what the casual observer thinks about this and how they think it's changed the scene, and talk to the analysts themselves and say, what's your job? How big of an impact do you think you have on the team? How much do they listen to you? And sort of understand how this is growing, because when we watch free to play, and I think it's Melk or Merlini or something talking about sleeping in a warehouse on cement floors to win 500 euros. The team is it's changing massively. Everything in esports is changing. And that's a segment I would be really interested in hearing kind of from both sides. So what do people who aren't plugged in think about it? Do they just assume teams have been using them all along? Do they not know they have them? And then the teams themselves, what do they think they're doing? How big of an impact do they think they have? And what does their future look like after TI?
It is a very new thing. I'm actually really interested in that as well. I would love to get Kips or some other analysts online for the show and see what they say, and to see how much of a difference it actually does make. Because if they're not doing it, are the players doing it, or is that just something that isn't connected at all? So as for me personally, for what we kind of want to do with the show is I really want to get like the behind the scenes look, because you're going to see the highlights on the Valve show. You're going to be, analyzing and everything from them. So what we can do is get the behind the scenes stuff that's going on. And that's what I'm really excited about.
Proud, let me ask you this. You run a show that talks about sort of theory crafting and the scene in general.
That's true.
Do you think that the increase of staff on these teams has had a massive impact, or do you think that it just adds a little more white noise to everything that's going on anyway? Because I think that you're a pretty good player. You know good players. You talk with good players. Do you think it helps?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, there's a reason that all successful teams are starting to pick up the coaches, right? Like, they're not just trying random stuff and being like, maybe this will help. Like, Boba helped EG a lot. OG was like, yo, Mad actually was very helpful. And I mean, Mad's great. He's not a fantastic, player anymore. But he was like good as a captain. Like he was good on Alliance. He wasn't a good player, but just the fact that he could captain like brought them to TI. Or wherever they got. Anyway, I don't remember too well. Anyway, but so like coaches are great, definitely, 100%. Coaches are cool. By the way, the dating thing sounds hilarious. Just saying.
Right? I feel like that could be a blast.
I want to make sure I would date Lone Druid, so if we can get that, I'll be set.
Both
of them, or I mean, how does that work?
Just one. The bear is a manifestation of his spirit.
Oh,
please. We got 600 games with this guy. This is very serious.
So maybe it's Proud that's the furry, not the guy who watches your stream.
Whoa, please.
That's it, guys. Just so you know, some other segments we're talking about is we are going to do some behind-the-scenes stuff. Reinessa has managed to secure a VIP pass, from what I understand, so maybe we'll sneak a camera up there and do sort of a walk of what the VIP area looks like or what the team rooms look like. We have press passes for the entire team, so we'll show you the sort of the press area. I'm going to do my damnedest to do whatever we have to get ourselves into the practice rooms at TI maybe when the players are out or once someone's eliminated.
Ask.
Yeah, we'll ask. We're going to see what we can. But the idea is we want to try to see some of these places, maybe even after the teams have finished with them, because I'm sure that once we'll ask them, I will put my hat in my hands and ask an eliminated team, can we please go look at your practice area now that you're done?
Don't try and sneak us in, because I remember we tried to do that last year with Slacks and just like completely backfired.
It didn't go. Slacks has a very different style, and yes, his success was created by guerrilla sneaking. Okay,
yeah.
The fact that he accidentally grabbed the ESL, director and dragged him into a bathroom for a guerrilla interview that resulted in a job, which cracks me up. That stuff worked out for him. I don't know if we're going to do that because I can't afford to have Valve cut off our internet. But we will have a lot of fun, I assure you of that. So if there's stuff that you guys want to see, if you're like, man, I'm stuck at home, I hear about all this really cool stuff happening, and I never get to see it. I get a 5-minute snippet of Casey hanging out with some fans watching the Megatron, but I don't really know, what goes on in the yard. Let us know, because that's what we're here for, is to make those segments to help flesh out your experience. We want you to feel like you're at TI, you're experiencing it with us, and you get a little bit more, because we know that you guys are fans like I am. The TI3 was my first TI. TI4 was the first one I watched religiously, and I remember both of them logging onto Twitch 3 hours before the show ever started because I couldn't sleep because I was so excited about watching it, and just staring at a countdown for 3 hours and like playing some Dota but being really shitty that I didn't have anything else to do because all of my streamers are at Seattle. Everybody I watch is in Seattle. So our goal is to give you something to fill your time because that's a very boring couple of hours, especially if you're an East Coaster or from the Eurozone. So hopefully you guys like it. We've got some really cool things coming down the pipeline. We're going to find guests. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I want to say too, like for you guys who are watching, if you are attending TI and you're not just sitting at home, if you're actually going to be in Seattle, like feel free to come by the area and just watch the show live. Like I know Reinessa and Toffees and I would all like love for you guys to come by and just hang out, chat after the show, and give us your feedback and everything like that.
Absolutely.
And this me times you in chat brings up a good thing as far as Snapchat, social media, etc. We are going to make a very strong effort to be very active throughout the day on our social media, and so that's where the TI6 Today hashtag is going to be really important, because you don't have to follow me, whatever. I tweet a lot of selfies. That's fine. It's annoying for people. I get it. It's cool. But if you want to follow what's going on at TI or what's going on with the show and everything, we will try and be really active on social media and show you pictures of interviews. And even if we can't take video of a practice room or whatever, I'm sure I can. I'll help you guys out.
We'll figure stuff out. That said, though, let us know what social media you want us to use. Do you want Periscope? Do you want Snapchat? Do you want Instagram? And we'll probably divide it up. Maybe Reinessa will take the Snapchats and I'll take the Instagram accounts, and we'll just sort of make sure that you guys have behind the scenes throughout the day in addition to what we're putting together, because we want you to have a great experience while we're there. So let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want to be on the show. We're building it. We're building it aggressively right now, and your input matters the most. So at Toffees TV, at Reinessa Gaming, at Prove Dota, any of those will work. You can email me at 5midasgaming at gmail.com. That works too. More than happy to hear from everybody. One last plug before we go, though. The show is almost fully funded. We are about $400 from the GoFundMe being fully funded. So go to gofundme.com/Toffees and help support the show if you think it's gonna. If you want to see it You want to see us have some really cool stuff. My sound designer literally came to me yesterday and did the Toffees, please, it's me, your cousin. Can I rent a really good soundboard? And I said, I don't, we're about $200 off of the budget to be able to do that. And that's something where if you guys can fund us, we can make sure that we have the best quality for you at all times. So any last thoughts before we sign out, guys?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's do this then. I will go down the line and give you a chance to sort of tell us where to find you, tell us what projects you're working on, maybe come up with a plug, maybe just say something silly. It's your choice. We'll start out with Reinessa and work our way back over to Proud so that he gets the last say. Reinessa, where can we find you, and are you working on anything besides the morning show?
So you can find me. I changed everything over to Reinessa Gaming. Even have these cool. Oh no, I'm not gonna do it. Never mind. Whatever. I changed everything over to Reinessa Gaming. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything. So it's easy to find me there, whatever social media of your choice. As far as working on, besides the show, I will be in cosplay every day in a series of scary masks and helmets and stuff. So if you're at the event, please come and find me because I love taking pictures with people and seeing what weird faces they make. That's really fun. And I may be involved in the cosplay competition too, and I'm also hoping to stop by the .p shows if they'll have me. So I think that's on the docket for TI, and I don't know if I have too much else going on other than continuing TLDR once TI ends.
Prove, what do you got?
Well, check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Proves Reviews. I do kind of educational videos. So if you're ever a Dota 1 player, you'll enjoy it. If you're a Dota 2 player, you'll enjoy it. It kind of hits both target audiences. So check me out there. Other than that, like Reinessa, if you guys come by the morning show, I'll be there. I have things to hand out. I have Sprite beads. I have stickers. I have Proves Reviews wristbands. So all kinds of swag. So come visit us.
And a short plug. Like I've worked with Prove for a while. We started at SIVO together. We've worked on a lot of projects over the last couple of years. The room you're looking at that she's sitting in has 3 computers that she uses just for editing and putting these videos together. The Prove review stuff is really, really good, and I think appreciated in the scene. So make sure that you guys check those out. They're really interesting and very informative. And like I said, Prove is it has been busting her butt in the Dota scene for years behind the scenes. And I'm glad to have you on the show. Glad to have you working with us, and hope that you guys share some of the love that you share with me and Reinessa on a regular basis with Prove as well. Proud, what are you working on? Where can we find you?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, my co-host normally does the plug, so I'll try my best, but bear with me here. All right, so you can find us, Defense of the Patients. That's the podcast that I work for. We got shows Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday as well, presumably. That day also exists. Yeah, you can find me at Proud Dota. We're going to be there all week during TI. We have a nice floor at a gaming lounge. Come say hi. We'll announce where it is when I know that I'm allowed to do that. Yeah, have a lot of people will be great. Nice friendly atmosphere. Everyone in the Skype call is a beautiful person. Prove, I know you're dope as hell. Toffees, you're great. Yes, you're great. I haven't interacted with you personally, but everything's great. Everything's great. It's great. Everything's good. Yeah, so I just kind of act like an asshole for the most part. So that's really all I got to say, I think.
All right.
So that's... You can find Flub at Flub Dota with 2 Bs.
Follow him because he doesn't have a lot of followers, and he made an
great.
account.
I love him. He's so sweet.
Well, I can't believe you guys got on to talk. I've been working with him for years, and when I started casting, I was like, "Be my co-caster. You're smart." And his response was like dead silence because that's Flub's thing. So you guys got him talking, which I think is huge.
And he shot calls sometimes. It's weird.
He shot calls. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
He used to shot call for us, but he'd always be like, "All right, we're going mid. Do you guys think that's a good idea?" And I'd be like, "You're a fucking shot caller. Just tell us to go mid." So that was fun stuff, guys. Tune in. My name is Toffees. You can find me at Toffees TV. Obviously, I'm working on TI today. If you're mad at the unusual schedule for my podcast in terms of Coffee with Toffees and Around the Pit, blame TI today because I'm putting everything I got into getting the show up and running. And I'm excited to do it. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We're getting there on the 7th. Reinessa and I are going to probably do some test stuff on the 7th. And then I'm going to make Reinessa hang out with me a lot on the 7th and 8th so we can build rapport. Make sure that we're ready to co-host this bad boy. And starting on the 8th in the morning, we're going to be bringing it to you. And now I will say this. Bear with us a little bit on the 8th. Okay, because our entire team is flying in between Sunday morning and Sunday night, and we're setting all of this up at like 6 a.m. on Monday morning and testing and doing all the prep work because that's when we can get to the site. And it could get a little bit intense because normally the area that we're in, the internet and stuff, isn't needed until the sponsors get there at like 10 or 11. So it could get a little bit dicey. Bear with us. I promise Tuesday will be 100 times better. But I think Monday is going to be pretty gosh darn good. So watch, show some support, tell your friends, and give us lots and lots of feedback. GoFundMe.com/Toffees to help finish the funding. The last $400 gets us fully funded and makes me feel a hell of a lot better about all the things that I'm going to be renting and putting together for this event. And we love you guys. We appreciate you being here. If there's a guest you want to see on the show, tweet them and tweet us. Let them know to stop by because we'd love to have them. Have a wonderful evening. Play more Dota. A big shout out to Game Leap and Pro Built Systems as well as Asus Republica Gamers. I do want to thank the sponsors for being involved with the show. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll see you on Monday. Holy shit. We'll see you on Monday. As always.
That's like soon.
It's so soon. Oh,
it is. Good to know.
Oh, that's a good way to end the show.
Just a little preview of the excellence.
It's the fun. They're listening to us. We watch roll the credits. It's the quality of bands. Okay. Fine bands will be had. Fine bands. All right, and
did we win? Is it over? Did I win?